Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. JACALYN KERBECK. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Brett O'Loughlin here. We're on The Wise Ones on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. And today we have a change of plans. It's a rare opportunity. I have an opportunity, literally an opportunity, and it's going to become fact, that I can interview my boss today, Dr. JACALYN KERBECK. Before I have Dr. JACALYN come out, let me give you a very brief intro on me. I do 3 shows every Thursday. The Corner Bookstore I just finished. The Wise Ones is the next one, and then I have another show immediately following this called Talking Heads. And my talk today is called Why Does Recovery Failure Drive Aging and Disease? And we'll get into that one there in about an hour or so. The main thing I do is I research the human body at the cellular level, chemically speaking. I look for cause and effect relationships. Treat a cause, fix a problem, treat symptoms, and you'll always be treating symptoms. So that's what I research. That's what I love. I write about it, speak about it. Lots of things in there, but anything dealing with longevity, age-related disease, health, and wellness, those are the things that really and truly get me going every single day. And if you follow me on social media, you'll see I've been posting literally every single day on some aspect of a lifestyle choice that affects the hallmarks of health, the hallmarks of aging, and the pathways of disease. And it's all for awareness, education, and I think that's enough about me for right now. So why don't we get Dr. JACALYN to join us up here on stage, and we will figure out what we're going to do today.
Hi, Red. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
It's not like it was a last-minute split decision, right?
Well, as they say in television, the show must go on. So
yes,
unfortunately, our guest couldn't be here today. So I'm happy to fill in.
And for those who may not know, Dr. JACALYN's network just surpassed 4 years. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And she has the silver award thing there off to her left as we're looking at her on the screen. And 109,000 last time I checked on the subscription. So if you're looking at us today on YouTube, please subscribe. It means a lot to us because it helps us in many ways. But we have 2 YouTube channels. USA Global TV and Radio Network is the primary one. Okay, so Dr. JACALYN, in addition to being multi-talented in many areas, you went back to school, and we'll talk about that here in just a minute. Something that's been very dear to me most of my life. But you also are an author. I know when I met you several years ago, you had 0 books under your belt. And now I think you have, what, 107 or something like that? I'm not sure. It's an ungodly number, but it's up there ways. But one of the things I was really impressed at your latest book that, I used to help you. Now you're doing it all on your own. And I really and truly, I love doing that. But you took and you created this thing, and it's a topic that I think is really important. But the part that really amazed me are 2 things. Number 1 is the illustrations, and number 2, the video trailer. So let's take us through the children's book and talk about a little bit about why and what it has to offer, and we'll go from just back and forth.
Yes, I'd be happy to. Thank you. Well, the book is called My Tummy Hurts, A Kid's Guide to Belly Aches and Bathroom Troubles. And so I have ulcerative colitis. I've had it for 35 years. It's a big part of my life. It's always with me, so to speak. And I'm also on the board of the Crohn's Colitis Foundation. And I was asked to attend an event, which is the Take Steps Walk in Philadelphia. It's coming up in May. And I was also asked if I had a book on anything having to do with Crohn's or ulcerative colitis or IBD that has some impact for children and their families. And so I said, I don't, but I will. So the book itself is about a little girl named Jackie, and she has belly aches, and her friends on the playground are laughing at her, and she doesn't know what's wrong, and she wants to jump and play with all of them, but she can't because her tummy hurts. And so it's the story of her telling her school nurse, and then, you know, her caregiver gets involved, and they go to the doctor and they find out she's ulcerative colitis. So the bottom line of the whole book is that she's not alone, and that we're never alone, and we just have a voice and we can speak up, and we don't have to be afraid that there's something wrong with us.
Yeah, it's interesting. Kids are unique. I mean, my daughter used to have really, really bad migraines, and she'd wake up in the middle of the night, and you go up there and let's just kind of calm down, breathing and everything, get everything under control. My son had a little bit of that when he was growing pains, because he grew a lot very quickly, and a lot of pains in his knees. But my daughter was one of those ones that we didn't realize at the time. She was in gymnastics. She fell off the balance beam more than a few times. And, things get kind of jumbled around. Well, she stops gymnastics, gains a little bit of weight, and then all these problems start. Oh my goodness, I can't tell you, over a dozen doctors we ended up seeing. And finally, the last one said, well, look, it may be psychological. Okay. But let's just go ahead and send you over here as a chiropractor. And the first question he asked us is, was she in an automobile wreck? I said, no. Well, it turned out that her backbone, her pelvis was twisted and tilted, and her upper part, her head was, she had things going literally in a spiral that nobody else could diagnose for whatever reason. But he was there in 5 minutes and just moving things around. That's it. So I think 36 sessions of massage, back to new. Advance a few years. Now she's starting to have other problems. You go in and you see doctors, boom, boom. Well, it turns out that as she's leaving one doctor, she actually had an episode in his presence. And that's convinced him that, he's going to figure out what it was. Well, it turned out that she has both Raynaud's and thoracic outlet, but the symptoms are not necessarily, you can't say, okay, it is this or it is that, because they cancel each other. They don't cancel each other out, but they don't support each other. And it's rare when you have both of them. And so, sometimes you get, like, say, a belly ache. It can be nothing. It can be food. It can be an allergy. It could be a number of things. And sometimes the doctors can help us, and sometimes they can't. And sometimes it just takes a long, long time to figure it out. How long did it take you to be diagnosed?
I don't remember, because it was such a long time ago, and I think I was so ashamed and so embarrassed, and I didn't know what was going on. But to the point you just made, we have one of our team members here, Talia Smith, and she has fluoroquinolone toxicity, and she talks a lot about her situation as well as those of her guests, where doctors don't actually believe them. They don't believe that there's something wrong with them. They believe it's in their mind, and they get sent to a psychiatrist, and then that gets put on their file. And then anytime they go to see someone, they think, oh, here's someone who has some kind of psychiatric problem. And so I think, especially as a child, if you're not being believed that there's something wrong with you, and it's not, oh, you ate something, go to your room, or don't bring it up again, or stop complaining. And then you just learn that, okay, I'm not supposed to talk about it. And so you keep it all inside. And I think that makes it prone to being even worse. And I know for me, I can tell you today, at 63 years of age, I absolutely believe that ulcerative colitis has a major impact on my ability to be in relationships. And so I haven't been in a relationship in a long time, and I don't plan on being one, because I think I'm so scarred by the way I've been treated, having ulcerative colitis, being told that I'm dirty and disgusting. It's not a pleasant disease. But at the same time, if you're a little kid, you're 3, 4, 5 years of age and your friends are treating you that way, it's terrible. It really does scar you.
But one of the things you have, and again, I'm going to give you another congratulations, 1,111, not episodes.
Classes.
Yeah. So that doesn't, the ulcerative colitis and Crohn's doesn't affect your ability to work out. Is that true?
Well, just to clarify, so I have 1,111 classes at Solid Core. So for those of you, it's in the United States at the moment. It hasn't gone outside the United States, but it's a very difficult, challenging workout. And so to answer your question, in the throes of a flare with ulcerative colitis, for me personally, a flare can last 6 months to a year. It's very difficult to leave the house. So because you are constantly looking for where's the bathroom and you're in I'm just going to talk to myself. I'm in extreme pain. And there have been many times when I've left the house and I have not made it to the bathroom. And believe me, you remember those times and people just run. They can't wait to get away from you. So what I've had to do when I've been in a flare, sometimes I couldn't exercise at all, but I'm in remission right now. I would actually just not eat. So I would not eat. I'd have only little sips of water and I might run to the restroom before the class. And then as soon as the class is over, but it mentally does a number on you. So Solid Core, and I'm not a paid spokesperson, I'm not a brand ambassador, but it has really helped me mentally to be able to deal with situations, because when you're used to living in a lot of pain for most of your life, you can let other things go. Little things, you just let them go and roll off your back.
Okay, so you're exercising, but lately here, I think, I don't know how many days in a row, 45 days without alcohol and sugar. So you're
81.
81. Okay, I'm so sorry about that.
It's okay. Who's counting?
Yes, who's counting? So you made a decision to address another aspect of your health. I mean, the Solid Core is there and it's working, but now you decide, okay, I'm old enough, I don't need this. Why did you make that decision?
It's interesting because in January, I was visiting my family for the holidays and I was driving to Solid Core in Virginia. And I remember I was driving and I felt something like rolling over my yoga pants. They weren't, the same kind of pants you wear to work out. And I was like, what is that? And I was like, oh my God, it's my stomach. And I was like, where did that come from? Like this roll. And so coincidentally, for Christmas, one of my family members gave me a pair of Lululemon, not a paid spokesperson, workout pants, and they were a size 6. And I've always, since the beginning of time, I've always been a size 2 or a size 4. So I kind of felt like with those two things together, there was a message, which was, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to settle into the new you, or are you going to fight back? Not for the old you, because we can't go back. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to look at what I'm doing. And I thought the first thing is, I love Chardonnay, big Kendall Jackson fan, not a paid spokesperson, but I just like it. And I thought that's what you have to give up, because what you really like the most and is not serving you, that is what has to go. And so I thought, well, I've been drinking Kendall Jackson Chardonnay for so long, I wonder if it will be a problem. And it was no problem whatsoever. It was just part of a routine. Like you settle into a routine in your life. And it was the same thing with sugar. I was used to eating chocolate. And I thought those two things have got to go. And so I just said, that's the end. And then I started doing intermittent fasting every day. I used the Zero app, not a paid spokesperson, every day, tracking how many hours. And it has to be at least 13. I get at least 8 hours of sleep. I put my phone on Do Not Disturb at 8 o'clock at night, or 7 o'clock at night to 8 o'clock in the morning. So I changed my lifestyle 81 days ago. And I'm going to Solid Core and I'm going to GTX at Lifetime Fitness, double classes every day. So that's where I am.
So you made these changes because you're getting older and you want to be healthier, wealthier, and wise, right?
Well, I think because I was turning 63 and I've already lost family members like you have, we know what that's like. And all of a sudden you realize I am not going to be here forever. And because I have ulcerative colitis, I kind of use the analogy of a car. So you can have a car that has maybe 250,000 miles, but it's got a bad wheel. It's got a bad something or other, like, you know it. And so at some point you've got to take care of the car. And if you're putting things into the, you're putting in regular unleaded, it should be premium, it's going to show up at some point. So I just made those decisions to make changes, and I'm not going back.
It's interesting you mentioned a car, because this week I was doing some research and one of these things popped up, and you know how easy it is to go down a rabbit hole. And I try to limit myself to about 5 minutes in a rabbit hole, because it just, otherwise, well, which rabbit hole, which direction do I want to go? Anyway, and it talked about molybdenum disulfide, which I realized doesn't mean anything to you. It's a chemical. Molybdenum is it's a very unusual metal. But when you add the sulfur to it, you have MOS2, which is molybdenum disulfide. Why is that important? Because the thing that caught my attention was you add this to your engine oil, and now the car can go 500,000 miles without having engine problems. It still has to change oil and everything, but it bonds to the metal inside the car and makes it almost frictionless. And why is this important? Because jets use it, spacer, anything high intensity, your major racing cars. It's been around forever, but for whatever reason, we don't know about it as a common civilian. So I went up to the local store. Yeah, sure, we got here. So I bought 2 bottles. That was all they had in the store. I gave one to my daughter, and it was relatively inexpensive. I think around $10-12. It wasn't hardly anything, and basically 100 milliliters, a few ounces. Anyway, and it's just, okay, why? Well, if I add it, then I generally don't have a problem down the road. So, and there's another thing I also discovered, but that's the one that I thought was, okay, well, that's kind of neat. Why don't people know about it? Well, I'll probably end up writing about it here very shortly. But it's just, there's so many things out there we don't know that are really good for us, and you bump into it by driving down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's very true. And I think the other thing is, Red, that we as humans tend to fall into these patterns where things are comfortable and they're known. We know it, we like it, we feel comfortable with it. And when we have to actually make a change, with all the work you're doing with longevity and your new book, Aging Sucks, we have to make conscious decisions. And not everybody wants to do that. Not everyone's signing up for it. And then I know myself, I've even questioned, well, look at so-and-so, how long they lived, and they were doing this, that, and the other, all these dysfunctional things, and they lived to be whatever age. But we can't control what it's going to be. It's just about the journey. So to me, I feel like the reason, again, going back to this book, is if I can help one child or one family to bring awareness that it's okay to talk about these things, then I think I've done my job.
I was at a doctor's office the other day with some tests and talking with the nurses, and rarely do we ever find out about how we help others that we don't even know about. I've done that. My wife used to be a blood donor, and they followed her from her donation to the actual neonatal care, newborns, because her blood was of such uniqueness that it would be only used primarily in newborns. And so here she is, pictures on the Houston Chronicle. And they show, my wife donating, and they show the baby. And, that makes a big difference in your life. The fact that you, as you just stated, you help somebody you didn't know because you did something. In your case, you wrote a book or donated blood. I mean, I used to donate platelets all the time. I probably got about 42 gallons of blood products I've donated. And I'm at Ochsner Hospital in New Orleans donating platelets. And the nurse says, there's a 13-year-old in here that no matter what they did, it didn't work. Well, I'm not supposed to tell you this, but they gave her some of your platelets, and literally overnight, she's really recovering. And so, that, for years of donating blood products, that, just, it's stuck with me, and it just makes you feel so good.
It definitely does. And a lot of times we don't know who it is that we're helping. And it's okay, because And I think it also helps to understand that not everyone is kind, not everyone is nice, not everyone understands, and that's okay. So I know with the work that you're doing, you have such an incredible reputation. You're so well respected. I mean, I speak to so many people that have come across your path, and everyone feels the same way, that you really are making a difference and have made a difference in this world.
Oh, again, you're starting to make me blush.
As
And
long as you don't start crying, it's okay.
and you do that so easily. Just thank you for your kind words.
Well,
You also talk about don't giving away your value. That is another, listening and everything. There's so many different aspects, but let's talk about value for a moment.
yes. So I have a new book coming out. And again, I was asked to speak in an event, and they asked me, do you have a book? And I said, not yet. So this book isn't finished. I've been working on it for a while, but it's called Stop Giving Away Your Value: Boundaries, Pricing, and the Business of Respect. And why I actually decided to start writing this and speak at this event on this topic is because, Red, you know this. Like, I know you, and I know you know this because you've done it and I've done it. We just start giving things away because we're nice people, because we're kind people. And what ends up happening is you get taken advantage of, because unfortunately, there are people out there who just want things for free. And so I'm not judging anyone, I'm not labeling anyone, but if you give everything away for free, you will be broke. And I've talked about this, and I'm going to say this probably for the first time ever out loud on this network, but I'm going to say it. I have worked with many people in the spiritual realm. They're in the spiritual world, they're empaths, they're mediums, and most of them are going through tough times when it comes to making money because they're giving all of their services away. And it's hard to understand if you don't have the mindset of a business person. If you don't say, okay, I have to pay my bills, then you're going to have a hard time, because it is wonderful to give back, and you give back and I give back. We donate, there's philanthropy. But if you think about it, if you think about the wealthiest people in the world and they give a certain portion of their income, or if you think about when you go to church and you give a certain portion of your income, no one's saying give it all away, because you still have to be able to pay your bills, put food on the table, and feel good about yourself. So that's what I want to get through in terms of pricing strategies. It's great to give things away, give an ebook, give a free talk, but at some point you've got to be able to translate that and convert that to income.
And when we talk on the Corner Bookstore Show, we talk about authors write their book, they're done, it's published, and now what do I need to do to get money coming in the door? You got to sell it. Well, you should have started marketing the book before it was published, which is what you're doing now. You're marketing the give away your value. I've been really pushing. In fact, I gave a speech last month about starting your marketing campaign the same day you start writing the book. So now you have two parallel trains going down tracks. When you get to the publishing, the marketing's been going on for weeks, months, maybe even over a year. But people know it's there. And so I started, and I have my book, Aging Sucks, as you mentioned earlier, but I've been doing almost everything almost daily to market the book in order to establish credibility, let people know what's going to be in it. And so by the time I actually start writing the book, which will probably be in about 2-3 weeks, I have a military reunion I'm going to. I'll be out of town for a short while. And when I come back from that, I'm going to be writing. But everything I've been writing and publishing up till now in a marketing environment is actually literally going to be, okay, here's this article, boom, that's that page. Here's this article, boom, that's right. So everything I'm doing is almost like writing a blog every day, and that blog now becomes a continuation of many blogs and becomes a book. Well, if I do my marketing right, I have my articles that are there. I'm sharing this with everybody. They see what's going to be in the book. And now I have 2 months, 3 months worth of marketing before I ever start writing the book. And the writing is relatively simple, a month or two at most. It doesn't take any longer than that. And so now I'm saying, well, maybe let's back things up. Let's start the marketing program back here, get 90 days worth of information out there. Now start writing the book and I can't tell you how many comments I've been getting back and forth on social media says, I can't wait for the book to come out. And so it's one of those little things that I think is, and you're doing it with your video trailers and everything else. I think it's a great way of going. It's just something we as authors don't necessarily think about because we're so busy writing.
It's very true because you create this demand. So especially with all the posts that you're doing, I see them and it's kind of like, well, when's the book coming out? When can I get the book? Where's the book? And so you get people talking about it. But to your point, many times people are in the throes of writing. And by the way, most people I meet who are authors are not full-time authors. They are doing something else. And in fact, I just interviewed someone the other day and he said, I started writing a book 10 years ago and I haven't got it finished because there's so many other priorities. So when you add the social media marketing or advertising or promotion on any of these different platforms, that's a whole other layer.
And there's, so many places, you can write that. Let's say I write an article. I can divide it up. I can make a video out of it. 2 or 3 videos, actually, if it's a long enough article. I can put it on social media. I can put it on my website. I can put it on another couple of places where articles can go very easily. I noticed that because of the length of my articles, they're accepted very easily on Facebook and Instagram. No problem with length to speak of it. And most of my stuff is around 500 words. But sometimes I get a little lengthy and I try to put it on LinkedIn. Well, they have a strict limit on posts, how long they can be. Okay. But if you post an article on LinkedIn, they don't care. So I can have 2,000 words and it's an article. It's not a post. And so I had to have one article that I wrote shortened via AI. And then, and so I tweak it a little bit, add that little extra human touch to it where it needs to be, put it back on LinkedIn. But now I just take the article I have and I just put it right on LinkedIn. So, just the mere fact that there are restrictions on that. So now if I'm getting ready to put something, say, on Medium, okay, I write that and other people have it on Substack and all of the places. But there's so many things we can do with just one article. We don't even think about it. We just, okay, let me put it on Facebook. Thank you very much. End of story. And that's it. But that's not the end of it. If you're marketing something, market it. Because that's what somebody who would be paid to do that would be doing, because they know all those things. And it's not difficult because you've already done the hard work.
Absolutely. And by the way, Dr. JACALYN LLC is very happy to do social media marketing for anyone who's interested.
Say that one more time.
Dr. JACALYN LLC is very happy to provide social media marketing, advertising, book trailers. We do all of it in-house. So the other thing I wanted to mention to your point is it's like my education and my experience in sales. You can show something to someone one time. They probably won't remember it. But if you show it over and over and over again, they're going to at least remember. It's going to click in their mind. So therefore, when you post an article, it makes sense to post it more than once. And especially on Facebook, for example, if you're doing a video, they take it down after 30 days. So then it's forgotten. So that's something that I think is also important when you're doing a book or you've got an article or you're promoting an event. You've got to do it over and over again. And I've heard some people say, well, I don't want people to stop following me because I keep posting the same thing. They don't have to look at it. They can just scroll through or scroll past or do whatever. But the point is that you will resonate with someone out there, and you've got to keep being present and showing up.
One of our dear friends, Philip Sykes, you mentioned what he's been doing lately, which is posting and posting.
Oh, yes. He posted something thank you for the reminder. He posted something about a children's etiquette course that he is offering. And so I saw it on LinkedIn, and then I saw it again on LinkedIn. I saw it again on LinkedIn. I saw it on Instagram. I saw it on Facebook. It was the exact same thing. And I thought, how clever, how intelligent to do this, because it stays in your mind. Even though I had the blank for a moment because I was thinking of something else with Philip with London, but he really does a great job because it stands out because you see it over and over and over again. And you look at it and you go, okay, this is what that's about. So for people thinking, well, I posted one thing and that's enough. No, it's not enough.
It's interesting. When I was in the multi-level marketing realm years ago, they used to tell us, it take anywhere from 7 to 12 times telling somebody something before they finally understood it. And at that point in time, I had a mentor, and he would say, it's easier to make $50,000 in a month than it is in a year. In fact, it's actually easier to make $50,000 in a week than it is a month. In fact, if you really want to get serious, it's easier to make $50,000 in a day than it is in a week. And it says, I'll tell you right now, it's easier to make $50,000 in an hour than it is in a week, in a day. And the whole thing is predicated on the fact is, what is your reach? He had, I think, 30,000 people on his newsletter, email list, whatever. And so if he had something that people really and truly wanted, and this guy's name is Myron Golden, he's still actively involved out there. You may find him on YouTube and other places. But he say, okay, fine. Let's say I have a product. I have 30,000 people. What if only 1,000 of those 30 want to buy it, and the product is, $300? Okay, there's $300,000. It's interesting. You have to build your empire, and then once the empire is there, then you can, I'm not going to say take advantage of it, but use it wisely to provide help and assistance for other people. And it's part of your business, is part of the marketing world. It should be part of your life if you're out here in public and you're providing services or products.
Very true. I totally agree with you.
And so you haven't made $50,000 in an hour yet, right?
I didn't have that on my list actually, but I can put it on there.
Yeah. It hasn't happened here yet, but it will happen. I'm sure it will happen. It's just, you get on Oprah, boom, it happens. It's just one of those things. Is right place, right time, and things happen.
Exactly. Except Oprah's not on anymore. So.
I know. I just use it as a. But now you decided to go back to school. Tell us what's going on.
I am currently a student at the Wharton School of Business for their Chief Strategy Officer program, which I started in December, and it goes until December, which is really terrific. And it's been really interesting because I was out of the school world. I got my doctorate in 2011. And so it's been a while, but I just fell right back into it because it's about being curious and about learning. And it's interesting how they provide the content. And so I've been taking a lot of what I've been learning and applying it to growing USA Global TV and radio, and also offering it as coaching and consulting.
And that information is extremely valuable because it's things that, this is what's going on in the real world right now. And you have CEOs, let's say the cream of the crop of people who know what's working. And you say, oh, what about molybdenum disulfide? Something we don't know about, but it's there and it's going to be very useful. So you're passing that information on. So we're going from that awareness of what you're picking up, and then you're educating us because you're becoming more adept at not only understanding what the words are, but actually how to use it. And that's the part that I like. Okay, here's what it says, but here's an example of how that actually works. And that's the part that I like, is the fact that, okay, I hear, I see the words, but how do I use it? Okay, and then you give an example. Okay, and then you say, how are you going to do it next? Oh, crap, I don't know. But when you challenge somebody, it puts the brain in a different mode. You're passive looking at something, but when you challenge somebody directly, that they have to respond back. In some cases, me. But in other cases, no, don't. Who else is around here who can get in front of me? But when you have to answer the question, and it applies to what you think, what you believe, and what you will do, that's a different world because you're really challenging the brain.
And Red, you are a lifelong learner like I am. Not everyone is still interested in learning, right? Sometimes people just decide, well, at a certain point in life, I'm just taking it easy. And I'm not like that, and you're not like that, right? We are always challenging ourselves, and there's always more to learn. And so that's part of why I decided to apply for the program. And actually, I didn't think I was going to get in, because I thought they can't say this obviously, but I thought I was going to be too old at 62. And so when I got in, I thought, oh, and now I have to do the work, because there is a lot of work to be done, and it's every single week. But I'm really glad that I'm doing it, because I've learned so many things that you would think you know everything after having a master's and a doctorate like you with all the degrees. But no, we don't know everything, because as time goes on, people are learning more things and explaining more things and applying more things. And so it's really an interesting journey, and I'm grateful I get to take it.
I see things all the time on various Instagram and things that we thought about in physics 20 years ago isn't even the same thing nowadays, because okay, well, they proved this, they proved that. There's a new, part of an atom we didn't know. As you say, learning out there is continuing to go. We have better tools, better marketing. How much has your life changed since AI came in and you started using it to get the things done that you need to get done? I know it makes my life a whole lot easier, but some people don't want to use AI, especially if you're an author. I'm saying you've been using it for 50 years as a spell checker. You just didn't recognize the terminology. But in reality, it's been around for a while. Now it's being really and truly in a situation that you can, I have to, we talked about this the other day at an event. There's ethics involved in the AI, and you can literally ask your AI, what is your ethics policy? I asked mine recently, and we went back and forth on a few things, because when I was getting information, they can't give me diagnosis and medical advice. But if I'm a researcher, I can get information that I can get if I wasn't a quote patient or just general interest. But I have about a 2-page prompt that I use for my research. But about 4 times in the last couple of months, I've had to go back to my AI and say, okay, we just went through another 4 or 5, 6 questions to get to this answer. Why didn't you give me that at the beginning? So I said, take what you just learned, add it to the original prompt, and now. And so after about the second time I did that, I said, why are you not doing this? Well, I got some moment of honesty. So I didn't want to embarrass you. Okay, fine. Throw that out. You let me worry about my own embarrassment. You give me the information. I said, what causes Alzheimer's? They give me the 2 or 3 standards. And I said, I want to know what is out there, what's trending, what's experimental. I said, I will worry about how I handle that information. But tell me, don't give me up here. I want down here in the dregs. So that is like, but you have to be able to tell your AI, who you are, what you expect, who they are. And that's very important, because if they don't know who they are, they don't know what to give you. And so that's one of those things I've been learning all along here. Like I said, about 4 times in the last 2 months, I've had to tell AI, go back and relearn yourself a little bit and add it to the original prompt. And now I'm getting some pretty decent information. I still think he's protecting me, and we still have arguments periodically. But, at least I'm having information that I can share.
Well, I have to thank you, because you're the one who introduced me to ChatGPT. It seems like forever ago. And I use it all the time. I use it instead of hiring 5 or 6 people, maybe even more, because it's very good at task-based things. And one of the things that I learned through the Wharton program, and I'm going to give my interpretation of it, so disclaimer, this is what I took away from it, is that one of the guest speakers that they had talked about a study that was done on frontline workers who were given AI tools and how productive they were. And what ended up coming out of that, and I think it was the Boston Consulting Group that was doing this, at least in part, is that the frontline workers were trained on how to use the AI for their job, and they used it. And what happened was they saved a lot of time, but no one told them what they were supposed to do with the time. So overall, they were graded as unproductive, because there was a lot of downtime where they weren't doing anything. but it was very good for taking away tasks related things. And then the same organizations, they actually interviewed the C-level executives who also used the AI, and they were familiar with it. And what came about, some very high percentage, I want to say more than 90% of the executives decided to not use AI for making decisions. They wanted that human to human contact and conversation and discussion. So it's very clear that today AI is more than capable of doing tasks. But to your point, Red, I've had so many arguments, and people might be like, well, how could you argue? It's very easy to argue, because what I'll do is, like, I just had to get my information together for my accountants. So I needed a number of things added. And I looked at the number that it came up with, and I thought, that cannot possibly be right. So I got out my phone and I used the calculator and I added up. So I went back to the AI and I said, I don't know what you're thinking. I don't know what you're focused on right now, but you did not add up these numbers correctly. And that's a basic task. What is going on? So it came back and said, thinking. It didn't say anything because it can't talk, but it came back and it had, you are right. That's my bad. And I wrote back, no, it can't be your bad, because you are the genius. You are the expert, and you are not able to add up numbers correctly. So it is about how you ask it, but it does make mistakes. And because of that, many people are like, oh, I'm not going to use it. Well, guess what? You're losing out, because it does work in a lot of ways. It has saved me so much time and so much money, but you have to check it. Just like if you had somebody on your team, you can't just blindly accept everything. Sometimes you have to take a peek under the hood and go, well, let's see if what you're doing is correct.
It's interesting. Earlier this week, I was in a networking group, and one of the guys was the CEO. We talked about AI as a breakout session. And he says, things have been changing, environment, this, that, and whatever. And he says, typically in the past, they would have a layoff, downsizing. But he says they took their AI group and they said, what can we do to keep everybody here? What do we need to do our competition is not doing that we can do that makes sense, that our people are already trained to do or can be trained easily? So now you gave it a different world to think in, because it has to go out and evaluate, here, they listed all the competitors. And so now they came, okay, well, you can do this, okay. So they had options that without AI, they would never have thought of. And so it depends on, what is that mindset that you have, that because we have a finite, if it doesn't fit into this area, we don't see those things that are just outside that AI can see, or you train it to see that stuff.
Exactly. You tell it, you give it the parameters, whereas a human might not be capable, certainly, of processing all the information that it can process, which is another thing. I went back to my AI and I just wrote, please do not respond right away. I would like you to take at least 1 minute to think about what I'm asking you, because sometimes I just hit send and enter and boom, I get this. I'm like, how could you possibly have even read it? Are you giving me pat answers? And it wrote back, yes, I am. And I said, I do not want that. Put it in your memory. Take 1 minute to research and come back with references. So now that's what it does. It's like a good dog that you train.
Well, speaking of good dogs, I think we've had a great show today.
Yes, time to go.
We need to say sayonara and get on to the next show in about 10 minutes for me. So I gotta put things together quickly, and I will see you on the other side. So I'm gonna let you close everything out and pretend like you know what you're doing.
Thank you, Red. Good having you. See you soon. Bye. Thank you, everyone, for watching or listening. We are live right now, but we will be on the podcast platforms later as audio only. So wherever it is you're watching, we're on a number of places right now. Please go over to our YouTube channels. We'd really love for you to consider subscribing, because we get real information about who's watching. Not specifically, we don't know John Doe out there watching, but where people are watching, demographics, what people like, what resonates with you. And that really helps us with our programming. So it's it's USA Global TV and Radio and Dr. JACALYN KERBECK. If you'd like to be a guest on any of our shows, you can go to our website, usaglobaltv.com, and you can book your session. And now we're going to close out with two of my new books. We talked about the one today, My Tummy Hurts, and the other one is from my Lady Ella series, which is Lady Ella, the Listening Mentor. And it's a tribute to my great niece, Lady Ella, and my great nephew, Lord Jack. And their travels have taken them to Serenita, Greece, where they meet some alley cats. So take a look at both of the movie trailers, and I wish you a beautiful rest of your day or evening. Bye for now. My Tummy Hurts by Dr. JACALYN KERBECK. Meet Jackie. She loves recess, running with friends and laughing on the playground. At school, Jackie tries to play like she always does, but suddenly the pain comes back. Lately, something feels different and her tummy hurts, sometimes a little and sometimes a lot. With the help of a caring teacher, a nurse, her mom, and a kind doctor, Jackie begins to understand what her body is trying to tell her. Sometimes tummy pain is more than a simple bellyache. Some children live with conditions like ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease. Jackie listens to her body. She asks for help. She knows she's not alone. And Jackie finds her way back to running, laughing, and being herself. My Tummy Hurts, a kid's guide to bellyaches and bathroom troubles by Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, available on Amazon and in fine bookstores around the world.
In a quiet seaside town in Greece, where sunlight warms the stone paths and the sea whispers nearby, a new adventure begins. Lady Ella and her brother Lord Jack have arrived with an important mission: to teach kindness, patience, and the power of listening. In a hidden alley, a group of forgotten cats feel unseen and unheard, lost in silence and growing misunderstandings, until someone finally takes the time to truly listen. Because when we listen from the heart, loneliness softens, kindness grows, and new friendships begin. This is Book 10 of The Amazing Adventures of Lady Ella, the Listening Mentor book series. Find all Dr. KERBECK's books on Amazon and in fine bookstores worldwide.
Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? In a world quick to judge, one book dares to reveal the hidden cost of silence. Discover holy but harmful, The Silent Sin of Judgment, How Hidden Judgments Destroy Relationships and Damage Lives by Dr. JACALYN KERBECK. The Amazon #1 bestseller that's transforming the way we understand ourselves and the way we see others. Pick up the companion workbook to uncover your own hidden judgments and learn how to break free from them. Available now on Amazon and at fine bookstores worldwide.
viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. JACALYN KERBECK. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.